Tonight, you are going to feel something before you understand it. Your heart will speed up before you know why. Your palms will sweat before your mind has formed a single thought. Your legs will tense, ready to run, before you have even decided there is something to run from. This is not a malfunction. This is the oldest system in your body, doing exactly what it was designed to do. And the strange part, your brain is the last to find out. Think about the last time something scared you. A car pulling out too fast. A loud bang in a quiet room. Someone grabbing your shoulder when you did not know they were there. In that moment, your whole body lurched before you had even processed what was happening. Your stomach dropped. Your breath caught. Your muscles locked. All of it happened in an instant so fast that your conscious mind was still asking what is going on while your body was already 3 steps into a response. That feeling is not random. It is not weakness. It is not anxiety. It is evolution working at full speed. Your body has 2 separate alarm systems. Most people know about one of them. The one that thinks, the one that reasons, the one that says, "This is fine, calm down." But the other one does not think. It does not reason. It does not wait for your permission. It simply acts. And it is older than language, older than memory, older than almost everything you would call human. To understand why your body moves before your brain does, you have to go back a very long time. Your nervous system is not a single unified thing. It is a layered machine built by millions of years of survival pressure, stacked on top of itself, the way you might stack different generations of software on an old computer. The deepest layer is the oldest, and it is the fastest. In the 1990s, a neuroscientist named Joseph LeDoux mapped something inside the brain that changed how scientists understood fear. He was studying rats. He was tracing exactly what happened inside the brain when an animal encountered a threat. And what he found was that fear did not follow the route that everyone had assumed. The assumption was simple. Something threatening happens. Your senses pick it up. That information travels to your cortex, the thinking part of your brain. Your cortex evaluates the threat, decides it is dangerous, and triggers a fear response. Logical, orderly. That is how you would design it. But that is not what LeDoux found. He discovered that sensory information about a threat travels on 2 separate paths simultaneously. One path goes exactly where you would expect, up through the sensory cortex, into conscious awareness. This path is slow, accurate, detailed. It gives you the full picture, but it takes time. The second path is a shortcut. It bypasses the cortex entirely. It goes straight to a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons buried deep inside the temporal lobe called the amygdala. And the amygdala does not wait for the full picture. It does not need detail. It does not need accuracy. It needs speed. So it fires a response the moment it receives even the roughest, most incomplete signal that something might be wrong. LeDoux called it the low road. And the low road is why your body already knows before your brain does. Here is how fast it actually is. The cortical pathway, the thinking path, the one that builds a complete and conscious understanding of what you are perceiving, takes roughly 300 to 500 milliseconds to process a threatening stimulus. That is less than half a second. It feels instantaneous to you, but the subcortical pathway, the low road through the amygdala, fires in somewhere between 10 and 30 milliseconds. 30 milliseconds. That is not a small difference. That is a 10 to 30 times speed advantage. Your body is responding to a threat before your conscious brain has had time to do anything at all. By the time you consciously feel afraid, Your heart rate has already increased. Your adrenal glands have already released adrenaline into your bloodstream. Your blood has already begun rerouting away from your digestive system and toward your muscles. Your pupils have already dilated to take in more light. Your body has already chosen a response, loaded it, and begun executing it. Your conscious experience of fear, that comes after. It is almost like a notification that something already happened. Researchers call the full cascade the fight-or-flight response. But the more accurate name for what begins, it is threat detection before awareness. You are not deciding to be afraid. Something inside you is deciding for you before you have a chance to weigh in. And it is more nuanced than just danger. The same system fires for social threats too. A 2003 study by researcher Tiffany Ito and colleagues showed that the amygdala activates in response to subtle emotional cues in other people's faces, including faces shown so quickly that participants could not consciously report having seen them at all. Images flashed for just 30 milliseconds, below the threshold of conscious perception, invisible to the thinking brain, but not to the amygdala. The amygdala caught every one of them and fired accordingly. Your body responded to a face you never consciously saw. Think about what that means. You can walk into a room and feel immediately uncomfortable without knowing why. You can meet someone and feel an inexplicable mistrust before a single word is spoken. You can enter a space and sense something is wrong before you have consciously identified any evidence that anything is wrong. This is not intuition in the mystical sense. This is your low road doing its job. Pattern recognition running at a level of speed your conscious mind cannot match. The physiologist Walter Cannon was one of the first scientists to formally describe the fight-or-flight response back in 1915. He was studying what happened in the bodies of animals under threat. He noticed that the response was automatic, total, and immediate. The whole body mobilized, not because the animal had decided to mobilize it, but because a system beneath conscious control had made the call. Cannon understood that this was a survival mechanism. What he could not yet see was exactly how early in the processing chain it was firing. Now we know. It fires before the conscious brain has even received the information. And here is the part that makes this stranger still. Once the amygdala fires, it does not just affect your body, it affects your perception. It narrows your attention. It filters what information reaches your conscious mind. It actually shapes what you see and hear next. Researchers Andreas Olson and Elizabeth Phelps found that fear conditioning, the learning of threat associations, happens rapidly and often unconsciously, and that once those associations are loaded, they bias everything that follows. The amygdala is not just a responder, it is also a filter. It decides what your brain pays attention to once the alert has been triggered. You are not just reacting faster than you think. You are also perceiving differently than you think you are. Your conscious mind believes it is in charge. It believes it is the one assessing the world, weighing the evidence, deciding how to respond. But by the time your conscious mind has formed that belief, the low road has already acted, shaped the perceptual field, and handed your consciousness a pre-edited version of events. So why does this system exist? Because for most of human history, the cost of being wrong in one direction was death, and the cost of being wrong in the other direction was a false alarm. If you pause to consciously evaluate whether that shape in the long grass was a lion, you would sometimes be right that it was not a lion, but the one time you were wrong, you would be dead. The amygdala does not pause. It does not evaluate. It assumes worst case.